As promised, guys, here is your 3-pillar power-up for catchers. Doug and Ryan are going to talk about receiving, blocking, and throwing, and they've got some great information in this video. I've just sent you an email as well, so be sure after watching this video that you go check your email. And over the next few days and weeks, I'm going to send you some great catching information. So, of course, if you're a catcher or a catching coach and you're interested in that, be sure to start opening up those emails because it's a bunch of great stuff, a bunch of free stuff. And, of course, Ryan and Doug have a workshop coming up soon, and I'm going to notify you on the dates and things like that when that is available. It's not quite there just yet, but I will notify you in the emails when that's ready. So if you're interested, definitely start checking those emails for me. But let's get into it. The 3-pillar power up for catching, receiving, blocking, and throwing. Let's get into it.
Hey guys, how you doing? Doug Vernier from ProBaseballInsider.com, and welcome to this 3-pillar power up. Say that 3 times fast. But we are working together with Yugo Pro Baseball, and we're bringing this to you, just 3 awesome tips from our Major League catcher Ryan Lavarnway on the 3 pillars of catching. So Ryan, first off, what are the 3 pillars of catching?
Guys, the 3 pillars of catching, when it comes down to it, you could have 100 different skill sets, but the thing that's going to be your foundation, the things that's going to hold up the house of your catching is you got to catch the ball, you got to block the ball, and you got to throw the ball. All right? So receiving, blocking, and throwing are the 3 pillars of catching, and you got to be the strongest in those 3 foundational areas.
So Ryan, we're going to try to go through a couple tips and the most important tips for each of the pillars. Let's start with receiving. What is a foundational big-time tip for receiving?
All right, guys, so when you talk about receiving, the hardest pitch to receive is going to be that low pitch, all right? When I was playing for the Boston Red Sox, Jason Varitek was one of the best players, one of the best catchers in the game at framing and stealing those strikes. And the thing that he taught me was the give and turn method, all right? So when you're catching the ball, what you really want to do, in order to steal those low strikes, you want to make it look like it's not quite as low to the umpire, all right? So what Jason would do was you catch the ball, and that low pitch is going to be really tough. It's going to be tough to overpower. So what's going to happen is you let your glove go with it, and you bring your arm up a little bit like this. So what the umpire sees is the top of your glove starts here, and the top of your glove ends a little bit higher. So you're trying to fool the umpire's vision by making it look like that low pitch wasn't quite so low. You're going to go out and get that ball closer to the pitcher, let that ball take your glove to close it, and then bring it up a little bit like this. How many of you guys have seen the New York Mets play? Travis d'Arnaud. He is one of the current players that does this really, really, really well. And he's one of my favorite guys to watch on TV. The give and turn method for receiving that low pitch is going to be one of the best ways that you can steal those extra strikes on the low pitch. That's foundation, pillar number 1.
So Ryan, is that move, just going into that move a little bit more, is that a real subtle move, or can you do that on a ball that's not really close to the strike zone?
Well, that's a great question, guys. You don't want to be doing this on every single pitch, or the umpire is going to know, okay, this guy's trying to fool me, this guy's trying to make me look like a jerk. So you really want to do it on the pitches that are close, and you could steal those strikes. And anytime it's a strike, you want to make it look good too, guys. You want to get the umpire into a rhythm of, if I frame and I stick this ball for maybe a 1-second count, you should be calling this a strike. And those balls that aren't really close, I'm going to have your back. I'm not going to try to jerk you around. I'm going to catch that ball. I'm going to throw it back to the umpire. And what you do, guys, it's not a big motion. You don't need to move it all the way across the strike zone. From that low pitch, you want to catch it. You want to bring it right to the bottom of the zone. It's a movement, and when you get really good at it, it's going to look like you're not doing it at all. It's going to be very subtle. It's going to be a movement that is in one piece as you catch the ball right to the bottom of that strike zone. You're really going to train the umpire to be on your side and call strikes.
That's awesome. Now, I know we don't have a whole lot of time to get into all kinds of different ways to do it, but I know you've worked with David Ross and AJ Pierzynski and Jason Varitek. Do all of them, have you met a lot of catchers that have different methods for catching the low pitch?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So I was with the Red Sox for 7 years, and Jason and the Red Sox, they kind of do it the way that Jason, did it because he was such a great player for them. But then when I went over to the Orioles and I was working with Matt Wieters, he did another technique, and AJ, he has a third technique. So we can cover that a lot more in the PBI course, the Pro Baseball Insider course. But I really like the foundational method of this give and turn. That's going to be some great stuff that you guys can go on and work out at home. And then if they want to see the other 2 methods, then we can work on the course.
Well, that's great for receiving. Now, what about blocking? I know blocking is a really important pillar. What is your tip for blocking?
Blocking, guys, I was just talking about how Matt Wieters taught me a new way to receive the ball on the low pitch, but he really helped me a lot when I was working on my blocking. When I got drafted, I wasn't a great catcher, and I've had to learn and progress over the last 11 years, really improve my game, and this blocking tip from Matt was one of the best ways to do it. The thing you really got to focus on, guys, is that glove's got to go first. A lot of times when you're receiving, or when you're blocking these balls, but you're ready to receive also, you have those in-betweener type pitches. Maybe it's a curveball, you don't know how much it's going to break, or it's a splitter, you're going to see it a little bit later, or maybe guys are bouncing their fastball sliders a little bit, guys. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find that perfect balance point where you can receive the ball, but also explode down the block. And the glove has got to go first, guys. This is my main tip for today, is when you're blocking, you're in that athletic position. A lot of times your knees are going to be late because that ball's getting there quick. You talk about a 6-foot-tall right-hander throwing at 90 miles per hour. There's only 0.4 seconds that the ball is in flight. So you got to be able to respond in fractions of a second. And you got to make a decision too while the ball's in the air. So you're in your athletic stance, you see it. All of a sudden you got to block, that glove's got to go first. Boom. The knees will fall behind it, but the glove's got to go first. If you center that ball up like you want to, it might hit your glove before your knees even get down. So guys, think about whenever you block, no matter you're doing with a dry block with no ball, or you have all sorts of blocking drills, especially a lot of the drills that we talk about in the course, but you want to work on that glove leading the way, even if it's to the side or to the other side. Again, that glove can lead the way. Your knees are going to follow in behind, but that glove's got to go first, because if your knees are late, that's fine, but if the glove's there, especially if it's straight up and down, that glove is going to get you there on time so you're not missing these blocks.
So that's great. Now, for you, what is the most difficult ball to block?
The hardest pitch to block, guys, is a fastball or a splitter, because you're not going to have that trajectory. You're not going to see the angle of the ball curving down in order to square it up. But that being said, fastballs, you still got to block those things too, guys. Sometimes pitchers bounce it, they're not meaning to, but you don't want to be chasing the ball back to the backstop but have an excuse of, oh, that was a tough pitch to block. That's never acceptable. You're going to have to block everything. Find a way. So those pitches that are hard, that you have less reaction time, it's especially important to get that glove down quick, because your knees are going to be late. You're not going to be expecting the block of fastball, but you're going to have to find a way to do it, and the glove going down first is probably the best way to do that.
Now, catchers and pitchers are supposed to be on the same page. They're a team, they're working together. How can blocking, just being better at blocking, how does that give the pitcher more confidence?
I think you just said it right there, absolutely. You block those balls, guys, that pitcher is going to trust you. He's going to know that you have his back. You're throwing your body in front of the ball, putting your body at harm's way, you're working your butt off for him. He can bounce that curveball when he has to. 2-strike count. Maybe you got a big hitter up in a big situation. He doesn't want to throw him anything to hit. You throw a curveball slider that looks like a great pitch to hit, it looks like it's in the zone, curves out of there, bounces, you're going to have his back, you're going to chest it up, you're going to keep it in front, and you're going to keep those runners from advancing. All right, maybe there's 2 strikes, you don't want that hitter getting a strikeout and still ending up on first base because the ball got by, you're having to chase it back to the backstop while the hitter advances on a drop third strike. So blocking these baseballs, it's so important to keep the ball in front. Plus, it's going to help your team. Again, those runs, every base those runners advance, they're closer to scoring. Maybe a single scores them now instead of a double, or 1 hit instead of 2. Keep the double play in order, you get 2 outs instead of 1. Blocking the ball is so important, not just to give the pitcher confidence, let him know he has your back, but you're going to give your coach confidence too. You're going to get more playing time because your coach knows he can trust you behind the plate. And as a coach, if you can teach your players to block these balls, your team is going to be better. You're going to win more games. You're going to keep runs off the board. So players, coaches, parents, this is important for everybody.
That's great. Now, trust is important between, catcher and pitcher, but we want to go to that third pillar now. And I think this is part of a trust as well, throwing. What is your tip? What's an important tip for being a better thrower?
Guys, being a thrower now, this is where you get into the really appealing part of catching, all right? Receiving the ball well, blocking the ball well, those are the things that are just expected of you, things that maybe people don't notice when you do it well. They only notice when you do it bad. But throwing, guys, this is the sexy part of catching. Everyone wants to know, how do I get the ball down to second base faster? How do I decrease my pop down? How do I throw out more runners? Get my percentage up? And I got to tell you, Christian Vasquez, he's with the Red Sox now. He was the guy coming up behind me. He's the best thrower I've ever seen in person.
Thrown me out a few times.
Yeah, I've thrown out everybody a few times. Guys, the thing that Christian does so well and that I've learned from him is that more important than having a strong arm is having great feet. All right, you think about throwing the ball well, the first thing you think about is, well, you throw the ball out of your hand. You use your arm to throw the ball. But if you're going to get rid of that ball quick, the best throwers, guys, I've learned, have the best feet, all right? And the way that you're going to have the best feet is anticipation, and you're going to cheat a little bit. And I'm not talking about breaking the rules, so guys. I'm talking about breaking traditional wisdom, all right? Old school strategies. You don't have to wait for that ball to catch it, be squared up to the pitcher, get a strike call, and throw that guy out. You want to talk about priorities here, guys. Would you rather have an out on a guy trying to steal a base, or would you rather have one strike? You know what I mean? There's 120 pitches thrown in an average big league game. 120. How many guys are trying to steal? How many outs do you need to get? You need to get 27 outs on defense, all right? So 1 in 27 or 1 in 120. Simple math, guys. We want to throw that guy out, and especially as soon as we see him, that's our priority, all right? So work on your feet. You want to have good direction to second base. Feet. Your feet, get your feet down as quick as possible. You can't throw the ball off one foot. How many times have you seen the guy throw it like this? Until both feet are down, you're not going to be able to throw that ball. So you got to have the fastest feet. We talk about it a lot more in the Pro Baseball Insider course, but having quick feet is going to get the ball down to second way better and way faster than having just a stronger arm.
Now, your percentage throwing runners out has gotten better every single year. What do you think, like, have you had some talks with players? Have you done something? What have you done to see that improvement?
Well, when I was with the Orioles in 2015, guys, the first thing that they taught me is throw the old school book out the window. Don't worry about being traditional. You don't have to be square. You don't have to obey the rules, the strategies that they've done for 100 years. Baseball is evolving, and we got to evolve with it. All right, so when I talk about quick feet, we're talking about anticipation. All right, there's a lot of times when you have a play at the plate or you're trying to do a home to first play where you have to anticipate a bad throw. You got to be ready to field everything. But what the Orioles talked about, guys, that has really helped me more than anything is you really got to also anticipate a good pitch. All right, so be ready to field a bad pitch, but in the same way, be ready to cheat through and work through a great pitch so that you can be in the best position to throw and have as much of your footwork done before you even catch the ball.
Nice. So just a personal question. You've thrown runners out at third, second, back pick runners at first. What's your favorite out? Like when you're throwing a guy out, which is your favorite base to throw to?
I love throwing to second because when you get the camera frame from center field and you're watching it on TV, you see the whole play. You see the pitcher throw it, you see the catcher throw it, you see the second baseman tag him out, and an umpire is right there to punch him out. And even beyond that, my favorite is if you happen to get one in the dirt and you pick it and throw him out, because again, we talk about old school traditional wisdom, guys. You're not supposed to be able to throw on a ball that bounces.
Right.
The old school says if the ball bounces, even if he's stealing, you got to block it. But what we're going to do is we're going to throw that out the window, guys. If he's stealing, he's your priority. All right. So what I've learned to do is pick that ball and still throw him out. That's the ball that if you block it, you've given up. I quit. Nothing I can do about that. That ball bounced. That's not my fault. All right. I can't live with that. I want to be better than that. I want to be better than the next guy. The next guy that's blocking that and giving up on him, I'm going to pick that ball and I'm going to throw him out of second base. We're going to teach you how to do that too.
That's awesome. That's great tips, and that is the 3-pillar power-up. Hope you guys enjoyed that.
Wow, thank you so much, Doug and Ryan. That was amazing. I hope you guys who are watching this like that as well. Again, don't forget to check your email over the next few days and weeks because we got more info coming from Doug and Ryan, as well as some of the other Major League catchers that I had on my channel. So a lot of great catching information coming your way in the email. So be sure to check those out for sure. And again, I will leave some information when Doug and Ryan put together their workshop and get that program of theirs finished. So if you guys are interested in that, it'll be in the emails as well. So we'll see you guys in there. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much.